Oh boy, do we just love to see it. Yes, mainstream media, everything that we've kind of had a suspicion of, we've kind of been seeing the writing on the wall, kind of had an inkling that, there's something kind of off with mainstream media. And for those of you that thought you were the only one, you are not the only one. I know we've been seeing this for quite a while now, but it's quite a different matter to see it in data written down to show you the proof that there are hundreds of thousands of people just like you who do not trust the mainstream media and has decided that they are not a credible source for news. And these numbers show it. Here's an article by Trending Politics who tracks this stuff. And they show what we've all suspected. CNN's ratings collapse continues as viewership plummets to all-time lows among key demos. So for those of you that may not know what a key demo is, demo means demographic. Most of you probably can kind of glean what this means. But there's a certain targeted demographic that the media, pretty much any media, even YouTube shows, doesn't matter, goes after because they are the ones that are most likely to, engage in advertisements and buy products and whatnot. In the case of CNN and most media, it's somewhere in the mid-20s, goes all the way up to late 40s, early 50s. That's the key demo. And in that demographic, CNN's ratings are collapsing, which means that it's most likely the very, is most likely the older crowd who grew up watching mainstream media and looking to a source like CNN or MSNBC as some sort of a expert on any number of the topics that they discuss, which I think the veil has been lifted on that. But this says CNN's ratings decline is showing signs of reversing anytime soon. Is showing no signs of reversing anytime soon, as the network recently plunged to an all-time low in viewership among the most coveted demographic for advertisers. The left-leaning news network, which is currently in the midst of a massive overhaul, is expected to entail wide-reaching layoffs, average 92,000 total day viewers in the key 25 to 54-year-old demographic. So this is absolutely hilarious. And, they talk about this massive overhaul that CNN is undergoing. They actually are. And I'm not saying this is a reason why you should start watching them again. But if there are video clips that you have seen where, you see a panel on CNN, most likely included in that video clip is a guy named Scott Jennings. Yes, he's a guy named Scott Jennings. And he kind of exploded onto the scene. I think it was maybe early last year. It might have been earlier than that, but I'm just kind of thinking back to as far as I can remember, somewhere in that time frame. But there was this guy that would come on CNN, and he would absolutely own the libs. He would roast them in their faulty, crazy logic, their woke leftist ideology logic, when they would say that Donald Trump was Hitler, a Nazi, or something like that. And he would turn all these things around on them almost effortlessly. And I began seeing more and more of these clips. And finally, I was doing a live stream one morning, and I had done some research on Scott Jennings. And come to find out, he is actually a partner of a PR firm, a public relations firm. So kind of looking at that, I believe that CNN realized that their brand was trash, that their brand was in the gutter. CNN became synonymous with fake news. So they knew they had to find somebody. They had to do something to appeal to this audience that was already very large. When I say this audience, I mean the MAGA crowd, the America First crowd, the crowd of people who are tired of the United States sending all of their money overseas to countries like Ukraine and other countries like this. And they realized they have to find someone that could speak to this audience. And that person that they found was Scott Jennings, who just so happens to be very, very good at it. Now, I don't know whether it is all real, what Scott Jennings does. And that's points to another broader problem with corporate America is a lot of this talent you see, they're just repeating talking points for money, basically. They may believe what they say, but maybe they don't. You really don't know. The one thing I will say about Scott Jennings is that he's very good at it, because a lot of things that he says is it's very relatable. So, I mean, he maybe he believes what he says, or maybe he's just done his research. But it says the pitiful figure represents a 1% drop when compared with the previous year's average of 94,000 people. And that's so low. I mean, if you look at the numbers that some of these YouTubers put out, myself, I'm nowhere near these numbers. I've had a few videos go pop off, but some of these conservative commentators and even some liberal commentators, they crush these numbers, which also represented an unprecedented bottom for the network, according to a report from Mediaite. The latest figure comes as CNN has endured a massive decline in viewership following President-elect Donald Trump's historical comeback victory in November. In total, CNN's viewership among the key demographic has declined by 52% since Election Day. Oh, you love to see it. Donald Trump pretty much single-handedly took down CNN. And, you know, you would think that some of these liberal news outlets, following the election of Donald Trump, you would have a lot of these, anti-Trumpers gravitating towards outlets like CNN or MSNBC to get all of their hate-filled talking points against Donald Trump. But that's not happening. In fact, the reverse is happening because people are realizing that they have been sold a lie this entire time. And if they had some rabid anti-Trump views, they are questioning themselves because now they're like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm actually the one on the wrong side of history, because it sure is beginning to seem like the majority of people think Donald Trump and these people that support Donald Trump and the broader America First movement, maybe they actually have a point. But in total, their viewership declined by 52%, as the network is drawing an average of just 77,000 viewers, according to the Nielsen data. Overall, CNN's primetime viewership has cratered by 45% this year to an average of 405,000 viewers. The data shows just 11% of primetime cable news viewers have tuned into CNN since the election, trailing far-left rival MSNBC's 16%. So that's kind of rough right there. Here's the thing. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. MSNBC is the new CNN. What I mean by that, MSNBC is the new rabid, anti-American, anti-Trump, just way out there news propaganda. They are the new one. So for them to be beating CNN in these demographics is a little bit concerning. But at the same time, I think it's because CNN became so synonymous with fake news. I think they are still suffering the blowback from everything that they did when they went after Donald Trump initially and over the past few years. So it's hard to get away, from a reputation like that. But Nielsen data found that Fox News is pulling away in the cable news department, as an astonishing 72% of primetime cable news viewers have flocked to the network in the same period. Fox News also secured its lead among the 25 to 54-year-old demographic for the ninth year in a row. I'm not a massive fan of Fox News. I think there's some good shows on Fox, but I just think that all mainstream media is pretty much garbage. Fox News, I mean, they're definitely the preferable one. I think they're a little bit more fair. They're a little more common sense, or a lot more common sense, I should say. I mean, at least compared to MSNBC. But I think, you watch a news program and you just got to realize that they make their money somehow. And that money that they make shields certain ideologies, shields certain, let's say, countries from receiving criticism. That's just the fact of the matter. Companies, countries, ideologies, that's the fact of the matter. MSNBC beat out CNN in terms of total day viewers, but fell behind CNN in the 25 to 54 demographic. Okay, so that's good. As the network deals with its own post-election ratings collapse, since Election Day, MSNBC's primetime viewership has declined by nearly 60%. Okay, so I guess I don't have to be concerned, or as concerned as I thought I should be, because MSNBC is actually doing worse than CNN. And I do know they had to reduce Rachel Maddow's salary. They had to reduce it by several $1 million. But I do believe she is still making about $25 million a year, which is absolutely insane. And then, of course, Joy Reid, she is now dealing with a pay cut, which, they should just take her off the air completely. But I almost guarantee you what's going to happen in the near future is they're going to go kind of the route of CNN. When CNN brought on this Scott Jennings character to kind of speak to the right wing and the America First demographic, I believe that MSNBC is going to do it as well. But I think they're going to be more careful about who they pick, because CNN, when they chose Scott Jennings, they chose a very effective speaker. Now, that guy, when he gets on these panels with these leftists, he makes them look like pretty much morons. I mean, it's great. It's fun to watch. And it was weird to watch it on CNN when all these clips first started coming on. And I think MSNBC is going to be looking at this and like, we might want to get a less effective speaker, because Scott Jennings over here is completely destroying these panels. And MSNBC, their brand is pretty much far, far left. I mean, that's what they are synonymous with. If you've ever watched Joy Reid or Rachel Maddow, these people are frothing at the mouth leftists. But this article concludes the far left network is also hemorrhaging viewers across its weekend lineup. Last Saturday, the network's talk show hosted by Jonathan Capehart drew just 12,000 viewers among the 25 to 54 demographic. Ooh, that burns. For comparison, the recently launched News Nation managed to draw 3 times as many viewers across its weekend programming in the same time period. So yeah, good news. Good news we finally see on paper and in the data what we all suspected. You were not the only one. You have hundreds of thousands of people who agree with you and that just don't trust mainstream media anymore, at least when it comes to CNN and MSNBC. Now, Fox News, obviously, a little more right-wing leaning and a little more common sense. So most people who like watching cable news and have some common sense are going to look at Fox as a reasonable alternative, which, they're not the worst, but I still say, be careful about what you watch and kind of be cognizant of where this information is coming from and some of the narratives that they're steering away from, because there is a lot of information in the gaps. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think about all this down below in the comments. Like, subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you on the next one.